Agriculture is facing big economic shifts heading into 2026. The experts at CLAAS are dedicated to breaking down what it means for growers, from boosting efficiency to making smart end-of-year purchases as the 2025 harvest gets rolling. Tonight, they're bringing you everything you need to know. Well, good evening. Welcome to Rural America Live. I'm Tony St. James. Tonight, we're taking a hard look at the global and North American ag economy. It's the forces that are shaping farm decisions as we look at harvest and not just the year, but looking ahead to 2026 as well. Between crop reports, we've got commodity prices, what regional storage, a whole lot more. Farmers have plenty to consider. And tonight we have a special giveaway. One lucky on-air caller will win a CLAAS-branded Pelican cooler. All you have to do is call in with your question. Make sure you write down that number. We'll give it in just a few minutes. We'll open up the phone line shortly, so make sure you've got something to write with so you can remember the number. And here with me now to help us break it all down, Raby of CLAAS and Arlan Suderman of StoneX. Hey, it's so good to see both of you. And, Eric, let's start with you. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit.
Well, we're glad to be here, Tony. Eric Raby, I'm the Senior Vice President for the Americas region, so North America and South America. But I've been in the equipment business for my entire career. Grew up on a farm not far from here, so good to be back in the area.
Okay. Arlan, we talk to you from time to time. How do you introduce yourself?
Arlan Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX. Grew up on a farm in south central Kansas. Did not have the opportunity to return to the farm. So basically dedicated my career to helping the farmer, to providing information to the farmer that much of the rest of the industry has, so that he can make informed decisions and have access to that information. And my position at StoneX allows me to do that. So,
it's no secret, guys. We've got a challenging economy right now, especially in ag. So, Arlan, let's set the stage. What are the biggest global economic forces, if you will, at play in ag right now?
Well, I'd say two things in the related. Geopolitical tensions would be one, and currency exchange rates would be the other. Now, when we look at geopolitical tensions, and it really escalated when we had the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and that kind of began the escalation overall, where we're seeing countries change their trading routes, changing their trading partners. They're aligning with one side or the other. We're going away from the globalization, so to speak. So that lengthens trade routes. It makes them less efficient. Costs are higher. We have, like China, for example, being the world's largest importer of commodities, doesn't like to do business with the country that it says it wants to displace as the #1 economy, #1 military of the world. Then you add in the trade tensions and the tariffs on top of that as well, and the tariff war. And then currency exchange rates, which with a strong dollar that we've had now for quite some number of years, makes it more difficult for us to compete on the global market. And some of the countries who we compete most with have had their currencies collapse, and that has actually given them some advantages and incentivized them to expand production. Brazil being one that we've really seen that expansion. They've got the land to expand, and their breaking of their currency about 14, 15 years ago has really stimulated that expansion.
Okay, so you mentioned China. I can't tell you how many times China comes up in a conversation with producers. If we only had China here buying beans, or can we ever go back to where we were, or is there a new normal coming?
Yeah, what most people don't really recognize is when Brazil's currency started to break in 2011, that's when they started rapidly increasing their area of production. And when they produced more, it was cheaper for China to buy because of currency exchange rates. So China started moving toward buying all it could from Brazil and buying the rest from us, essentially, clear back in the middle of the last decade. The tensions between the United States and China have helped speed that up. And so that has escalated the pace, but it didn't set the tone. It didn't change what was already happening. So the only way we're going to really get China back, if you want to say, is with a trade agreement that forces them to buy from us at a higher cost so that they have access to our consumer market, which is a much bigger market.
And by the way, our exports are amazing. When you look at the volume, it's the value that we've really been hit hard on. One more here for you, though. It's the input cost side. And for the producers, I've had the opportunity to talk one-on-one. What's your biggest challenge? Input cost. Is there some relief coming? Is there maybe some ways that we can work around that? Because it's not sustainable.
Yeah, production costs have really been escalating and moving up near record high levels. And so that has been a challenge. And what that has farmers in the mode now of doing is looking for ways that they could be more efficient in their operations, buying equipment that's more efficient, following agronomic practices that are more efficient, reducing per acre costs, all of those factors. And so efficiency is the name of the game on the farm right now to try to soften the blow of those high input costs.
Okay, let's get Eric in here as well. Eric, we're talking about challenges here, but definitely there have been challenges on the ag equipment side as well. And I'm based on what Arlan's telling us here, they've got to be affecting you as well. So what's happening on that side, the ag industry?
Yeah, if you take a look at it specifically on the input side, and we talk about what are the influencing factors in terms of rising costs for the inputs, machinery, obviously, the price of that machinery continues to go up. But some of the underlying things that are contributing to that, tariffs. People talk about tariffs. And I think for the here and now, right now, the tariffs have had a lower impact than what people thought to begin with. But a lot of that's been driven by higher inventory levels. We have higher inventory levels. Our dealers have higher inventory levels. And the industry at large has much more equipment than we normally would. Most of that equipment does not have any tariffs. So the impact is lessened, at least for the here and now. If we take a look overall, the sluggish farm economy is probably more of a drag on machinery sales right now than tariffs are. That doesn't say that down the road we might see more impact or the farmers might feel more impact from tariffs. But one of the things that we've tried to do is to share that tariff and not pass all of that on specifically. The other thing we've tried to do too is to isolate that tariff separate from the cost of the machine. So there's full transparency and full visibility. So if that tariff happens to go up or that tariff comes down, the farmers and the dealers are going to see the immediate impact. So we're just trying to be as forthright as possible with that. Some good news, though, is we have, or at least made some strides with the EU and with Canada, which are two major trading partners that we have, to kind of stabilize where we were, let's say, back in April and May. The other thing, though, that's underlying right now that we haven't quite got our arms around as an industry is the 50% tariff on steel and aluminum. Right now, we're going through the different bill of materials of all the machines because we have to be able to accurately identify what portion of that is steel, where it was poured, aluminum, where it was smelted. It's very complicated, so there's a lot of work to do. And we also need to see what are the ramifications of the USMCA trade agreement as it relates to some of these other tariffs.
Okay, so with, and you kind of mentioned it there, global trade, it's in flux. What are your plans for production? I mean, you've outlined some of this, but what are the greater plans?
So if we take a look and we go back during the COVID and the supply chain issues that we had back in 2020, 2021, I think we learned some valuable lessons then on trying to mitigate our reliance on singular sources for different components, things like that. So we've got a little bit more practice in being able to look at different sourcing opportunities for components, for steel, for rubber, all those things. From our own standpoint, from a production capacity, we have factories in different parts of the world. For instance, our combines have been made for almost 25 years in Nebraska, so that part of it is okay. But what this would cause us to do is to say, okay, are there other products or are there other components that we might want to onshore here? It takes time. We have to look at the engineering requirements. We have to look at the quality components, the different vendors that we might work with. So it's something that we were doing anyway. This just maybe accelerates that a little bit for us.
Okay, so really we've talked about the challenges here, and sometimes it's good to say, I've got good news, bad news, give me the bad news first, but what about optimism? Arlan, is there anything we can be optimistic about?
Yeah, I believe so. When we look at today's prices and for crops, and they're low. For livestock, they're high. Livestock producers are doing much better. That's a positive, and that's one of our big demand sources for our grain and oilseeds that we produce is livestock. So we need a healthy livestock sector, and that's the good news. Another one is you look at corn. Global demand for corn right now is at an all-time high and exceeding production. In fact, for most of the last decade, global demand for corn has exceeded production. And a decade ago, global surplus corn stocks were at about 32% of annual usage. In other words, at the end of the year, we had about a third of our annual needs left over. Now it's down to 22%, falling below that and continuing to trend lower. So we're tightening up the global balance sheet. For the farmer out there trying to find storage space this year, he thinks the world must be flush with corn, but the world really isn't. We are right now, but it's getting consumed. And even here in the United States, we're consuming between exports and livestock production and ethanol production, 325 million or so bushels per week. So that's a tremendous amount that we're going through on a weekly basis, and the pipeline has to keep flowing. The demand is good.
So Eric, again, going back to the producers, I had the chance to ask some at Farm Progress. I just simply said, what's the biggest challenge? What are the opportunities moving ahead? And for some of them, they really struggled for the opportunity. They couldn't quite see the light at the end of the tunnel. Do you see light?
I do. I think if you take a look, and we look at farmer sentiment on a monthly basis, and you're obviously going to have some short-term pessimism right now with crop prices still waiting on the interest rate cut to come. Lots of different challenges that are there. But if you go a little bit deeper and you're able to get the farmer to talk to you a little bit more at length, you will find out that in most cases they're looking for, what is my next long-term investment or even midterm investment? How am I going to continue to use technology in my operation? How do I drive efficiency? How do I overcome my labor issues? All those things, even though they're kind of here and now problems or might even be down the road opportunities, I think the optimism, the longer you look at it into next year, there is the light at the end of the tunnel. So, and I've always said agriculture is one of the most resilient businesses you can be in. That's a fact, and I think we're seeing that now. But certainly it's a little cloudy, but the clouds will part.
All right, I'm having to write this down so I don't forget. Necessity is the mother of invention. Did I say that right?
Right on.
Is that true then? Is it in fact during tough times that we make some of the best progress that we can make? In other words, how do these tough economic times translate for decision makers on the farm?
Yeah, I mean, we go back, I mentioned it earlier, the silver lining to the COVID cloud was we all got the opportunity to be able to meet more frequently and remotely, which sometimes is good, but I go to a lot of meetings, so sometimes it's not so good. But communication was opened up broadly. Our ability to communicate with customers, our ability to communicate with our engineers, really good. We talked about versatility in the supply chain, all of that. But I think the other thing is that kind of gave us all the opportunity to really embrace technology and making it useful. And I think that's one of the things down the road that we're going to need to continue to look at is how technology really impacts the farm. I categorize technology into covert and overt. So an overt technology would be like a cabless autonomous tractor. I mean, it's very visible and you can see that. If I take covert technology like the CMOS that we have on our machines that looks at real-time data mapping and really provides fleet management capabilities for the farmer, those are the things that they can use in the here and now to really hone in on their operation. So when corn goes below $4, they can offset some of that and they can make investments in that technology that are really making their operation much more adaptable to the ups and downs of farming.
Okay, Arlan, earlier you mentioned it may appear as though we're just flush with corn worldwide because of some storage issues. But I'm kind of thinking ahead. Storage on this crop and then planting for 2026, because obviously things are driving our decisions now. Any thoughts?
Yeah, and overall, we would anticipate we're going to be shifting from some acres from corn to soybeans this next year. But frankly, that's going to hinge on what kind of trade agreement we get with China, if we get a trade agreement. You look at our biofuel program, it's looking very strong. We still have some unanswered questions, but so far, those decisions have come down farmer friendly to this point, and we're anticipating that to continue to be the case. But on the export side for soybeans, will we get the business with China or not? We're rapidly expanding our crush capacity for domestic demand, but we still need that export demand to complement it. That'll have a big impact on planting decisions next spring and whether we get that or not, and what it looks like if we do.
Okay, quickly, I want to throw one more question because I think this is a big deal for us. When does an upgrade make sense?
Well,
what are your
being
thoughts?
on the equipment side anytime, but I think the farmer has to look and say for his operation, where is he with the technology that he has versus what he wants, but also look for opportunities. Even though the farm economy right now might be in a little bit more of a depressed situation than normal, there are some really good opportunities for farmers to get in on late model machines right now that were built pre-tariff, that have lower interest rates that are provided by the manufacturers. So a lot of opportunities for them to look at that now. But obviously, this comes back to is really planning the farm's operation. And I think we're seeing more and more of that to take advantage of those opportunities based on what the farmer looks like today and what he wants to look like in 5 years from now.
Good points. What a great conversation. If you're enjoying this, hang on, because we have a lot more coming. And before we go to break, we're going to open up our phone lines. By the way, that number is 877-731-6733. 877-731-6733. Call in with your questions, because one lucky on-air caller will win a CLAAS branded Pelican cooler. More Rural America Live with CLAAS when we return right after this. Welcome back to Rural America Live. So, we've talked about the economics, but let's look at one of the equipment solutions that might help you adapt. CLAAS has launched the JAGUAR 1000 series. It's a forage harvester designed for efficiency and quality. And don't forget, we do have a giveaway tonight as well. One lucky on-air caller will win CLAAS Pelican cooler. All you have to do is call us with your questions. Phone lines are open right now. That number is 877-731-6733. 877-731-6733. We'll announce the winner a little later in tonight's show. All right, here to tell us more, it's Matt Jaynes. And Matt is with CLAAS. All right, Matt, tell us more about you.
Yep, my name's Matt Jaynes. I'm the product manager here at CLAAS. I've been at CLAAS for over 23 years now. Grew up on a small dairy farm in Wisconsin, and just been an incredible venture here with CLAAS, being with forage harvesters, talking to customers all the time, and doing lots of demos and a little of everything at CLAAS.
So you grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. I know things haven't changed at all because you're a young guy and you probably just left a few years ago. But let's get into CLAAS launching the new forage harvester. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so it's a completely on-top new model. It's huge. It's 850 horse to 1,110 horsepower. We really redefined everything on this machine, from the cab to the crop flow. It's incredible. I've been in California the last 9 days helping do demos and stuff, and it's just, the machine is a beast out there in that big 13, 16-foot corn. I mean, eating 14 rows, 35 feet at a time. It just chews through things. It's incredible.
So I'm kind of wondering here, I think I know the answer, but Really, what's the inspiration behind a piece of equipment like this?
Yeah, so we listen to our customers. So part of my job is traveling around with the engineers at least 3-4 weeks a year and listening to what they want. We're in the field with them. We see their heartaches, we see their successes, and we're always trying to improve on that. And that's what I really like about CLAAS being here for 23 years is truly listening to them. And this project we started in 2016, and I was part of the group doing focus group meetings where we would bring in certain key customers in and just listen to them and what they're looking for in 10, 15 years from now. And then on top of that, we just got done doing 4 weeks of expert camp and a huge customer launch out in California because, you know, the machine's the beast. And we wanted to show what huge corn is and show our key customers and our dealers. And we really went through a lot of in-depth training with the dealers to really see what this model really is all about.
So you're talking about work on the West Coast. How about we go back to the East now? Let's go to Aurora, New York. We've got Tyler Beebee with us. Hi, Tyler. Thanks for joining us. And I noticed it's light behind you, so you must be indoors, not outside, right?
Yeah, it got a little dark this time of day.
All right. So have you been chopping?
Yeah, we're chopping fourth cutting right now, but not with the beast. We got that's ready for corn. Hopefully get after that next week.
All right, so tell us a little about the Jaguar 1200 series. You're in the middle of this. So what really stands out to you?
Basically the throughput. I mean, what we're putting through the thing there's nothing out there that's doing it. We're basically gaining probably 35% more capacity compared to previous machines, the 990. We're just covering more ground and getting a lot more stuff done during the day.
By the way, we've got a caller coming in. We'll get to the caller in just a moment, but I'm thinking about silage quality. Let's bring you back in here, Matt. Dairy customers here. So how does this affect the quality of our forage? Do we see any effects at all?
Yeah, it's huge because we completely redid the whole crop flow. So we went to a 4 hydraulic cylinder hydraulic pre-compression, just kind of like how corn planters are now with the hydraulics for down pressure. So it really helps us size the crop. We went wider, more knives we can get for better chop quality. We went to a huge corn cracker. This thing gained 700 pounds. We went from 10 inches to 12.2 inches. And so that gives us a lot more surface area so we can really process the corn because our customers, I mean, you think about it 30 years ago, just nicking a kernel or even processing was, the big thing. And now they want that kernel, broke up into 4 or 5 pieces, and this huge corn cracker makes that big difference.
Okay, so we've talked about the West Coast, we've talked about California, we've talked about New York, but if we're talking corn, don't we have to focus on Iowa? Hey, let's go to the phone lines. We have Dean here. Hey, Dean, thanks for calling. What do you have for us?
I'm just asking you guys if the trend is towards maybe we ought to start looking back into a little more feeding some of our corn to our livestock. A lot of us around this area have gone away from it when the prices got higher, and then the cattle got higher, and my son decided we should sell our cows, so we're kind of debating here at the moment what we ought to be doing.
Well, that's a great question. Hey, Arlan, let's get you in on that. I mean, this isn't the first time you've heard that.
And the cow herd's shrunk right now. It's tight. Protein supplies in the United States are tight, so the demand is there. The market's trying to incentivize expanded production. Obviously, we're not going to see these current prices last forever. Even this week, we've seen a big break in prices, but I'm not sure that we're totally done yet with this market. But the market is trying to incentivize expansion of protein production, livestock production. And livestock has been part of the heart of the U.S. agricultural industry. And so it's much more involved today than what it once was, but there's certainly some opportunities there, and appreciate the partnership between the livestock industry and the crop industry.
Okay, so I think building on that, Tyler, let's get you back in on this because let's say you're chopping, but it's not for you. You're not a dairy farmer, but you do serve dairy customers. So how does the machine lead to that high quality forage that our dairies need?
Simply just the capacity you can put through the machine, cut quality, CLAAS being reliable, keeps us going confident, amount of acres we need to do, make sure we're putting in the perfect dry matters. It's the whole package.
It's a good. And by the way, when we talk dairy and we talk New York, I mean we're talking big time dairies here. Eric, let's get you in on this. 2026. I mean, we talk about today a lot, but looking forward to 2026, what's the number one reason to look at a Jaguar 1000 series?
Well, for lots of reasons, but I think one is the added, we talk about efficiency in operations and longevity. Not only is this machine the highest capacity forage harvester we've ever made, it's the highest capacity forage harvester in the industry. So when you're looking in terms of being able to get through the field more quickly, creating either more time for you to have even more acres or to do something totally different in a divestment, when you're looking to diversify your operation, it gives that to you. But the other is the longevity too, because these machines are built rock solid. So you're making an investment not only for now in the capacity, but the way these machines are designed is to serve those farms for years to come. So I think now is a really good time for farmers to really take a look, and custom operators just like Tyler there too, to take a look at what does that do for them in terms of making their operation go to the next level.
Okay, hey, Tyler, while we still have you on the line, before we let you go and maybe get a little rest, what are your thoughts on number one reason as well?
Everyone's scenarios are a little bit different, depending on the size of dairy or custom harvester, but these machines could easily eliminate another machine. Simply take on more acres. We haven't ran it in corn yet, but next week that will happen. But just between the 1200, the 1000 series, and the new hayhead, I mean that alone is we're gaining probably, like I said, 30-35% more in heavier crop. Triticale first cutting than we were with the 990. Just again, like the capacity is insane. What we can do with this machine during a single day, not working half the night, is, I mean, it's really amazing.
Yeah, just the fact you can get a little sleep now. So, hey, Tyler, thanks for popping in. Go get a nap now. No, don't get a nap. Get a good night's sleep. Tyler Beebee from New York. But that is an interesting point. Sometimes we don't pay attention to some of the lesser known benefits of getting a good night's sleep. But technology, bringing it back to you, Matt, technology, new operator assist, automation features, what else should we know about?
Yeah, so we've launched our new CLAAS Connect app, and it can show you everything on your iPhone, where the machine at, the telematics, it can tell us error codes, all of that kind of stuff. So it's really good. I had one customer go, you guys aren't so good on technology, and our competitor, their competitor is, and I whip out my phone. I go, really? I have all of this right here, and show them. We've got the new CMIS 1200, which is our CLAAS built and proprietary GPS, so we can do live yield mapping next year, the whole steering package. It goes right to the cloud. It's really good system there with the steering connected with our new Nutrimeter, which is an NIR system, so it can do your average moistures. We have a lot of customers telling us now they're not even pulling samples at the pit because the digital technology is so great that they can go off of those averages right from the monitor and pull it up on CLAAS Connect and see it any time. And then lastly, the big thing I think is really good that's helped us in the demos and showing customers this year is our new AI app on silage quality. So we have this blue plate we can put the silage on, take our iPhone, take 8 pictures of 8 different little samples on it, and it'll tell us the kernel processing score. Because with this new huge corn cracker, we have some customers that don't believe us, so it's awesome to show them that with their old machine or competitive machine running at 1 millimeter, and we're running at 3 millimeter, and we're actually producing better silage. And better silage means more milk or heavier rates of gain on a feedlot, guys.
Wow. AI. A little surprised?
AI is one of the new things speeding up the changes in agriculture.
All right. Hey, let's go to the phones again, and let's not leave. Oh, well, we don't have you anymore. Oh, we had Stephen from Ohio for a moment. Stephen, call back in. We lost you there, but building more on that technology question, Eric, what are your thoughts there too? Because I know you're listening to this going, yes, 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 yes. What else is there?
Well, I think, there's the sky is kind of the limit, if you will, I think, for the future of agriculture. If you just look at the adaptation of different technologies, and I think you said it right, AI is going to dramatically not only change things, but it's going to speed things up as well. And we really need to be smart on how we do that. But we're looking at it from a CLAAS perspective right now. On one of the big things that we are proponents of is after-sales support. Parts and service are our number one and number two goals all the time. And what can we use AI for to help farmers do self-diagnostic if they need to? If they have an error code that comes up, can they take care of it themselves, either through CLAAS Connect, or can the machine do it on its own? These are things that really are going to help that whole experience of operation. And again, it's going to create two things, and that's everything that we do within CLAAS. We really look at two things we're trying to create. It's either more time or more money for the operator, for the farmer and the operator too. If we can do both those things at the same time, that's obviously optimal for us. But those are the ways that we see technology working, is really going even deeper on the support level.
Wow. And again, it goes right back to the point that Tyler made. I get a little rest now here. Let's get it back over to you, Matt. Jaguar 1000 series, but a long-term investment strategy. Is that something that you're hearing as well? Hey, how will this fit into my long-term strategy?
Yeah, so with this machine, it's expensive, it's big, but we really listen to the customers. So instead of the traditional ag wiring harnesses, we went to almost a military style wiring harness and some of the components just to push that limits of forage harvester for the long-term reliability. We made bigger bearings, and made the frames heavier and everything else. So it all blends in there because we know this is a large investment and they're going to keep them longer. So we got to make sure we have that long-term. And then you piece that with all of the digital technology, things I forgot to talk about, like the autofill. It automatically fills a trailer for you. So you just sit back and chew on your Snicker bar or have a drink of water, or hopefully you're not texting and driving, but or the camera, the camera can steer the thing down the windrow so you don't have to steer, and it's got seamless auto, so it literally drives the machine ground speed forward and back, and if you're not pushing it and at the max ground speed, it derates horsepower and you save fuel. And that's the name of the game for us, is when we talk about efficiency, it's about how much fuel we save on a per ton basis. We never talk about a per hour because we do so many more tons an hour, especially with this new machine. So, and just the automation and the cab comfort, customers have gotten in the demos this year. They can't believe how much quieter the cab is on this new machine. They get in their competitive machine and slam the door 5 times thinking their door's still open after they've gotten out of the demo machine. So it's really good. It fits the whole package of comfort, efficiency, capacity, and really our biggest thing, because it's always what customers tells us about reliability.
And it's loaded with TikTok already, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like you could be making a fortune doing TikTok videos. Oh, I don't know. How about we go to Alabama? We need to talk to somebody from the South. We've got Henry on the phone. Hi, Henry. What do you have for us?
I was wondering about the fuel efficiency of these machines and also the warranty of these machines.
Okay, let's start with fuel efficiency. Who wants that one?
That would be me. So fuel efficiency in winter forage this year, we saw about 0.117 gallons per ton in winter forage, or cereal crops, however everybody says it across the country. Corn, we're anywhere in that 0.12 to 1.3. gallons per ton in corn silage, just because a corn cracker takes a lot of power and all that. I didn't quite hear the second part of the question.
Well, again, we appreciate Henry calling in. By the way, you can call us tonight. We're toll free at 877-731-6733. 877-731-6733. I'm talking about fuel efficiency. Do we have any ideas what fuel could be costing down the road? Arlan, I just wonder, I know you watch all the markets. As an input, is that something we can at least look down the road?
Yeah, now obviously we're always vulnerable to geopolitical tensions that might blow things up. But from a standpoint of just supply and demand fundamentals, we're seeing OPEC plus the cartel now expanding production. And what we're seeing here in the United States and North America as a whole, the shale oil fields are kind of pulling back production. They have a little higher cost of production. So OPEC is taking advantage of these low prices now to grab market share. But the bottom line, what that does is it keeps us well supplied with oil and fuel. Plus, the Trump administration has also had a policy that's favorable for drilling and for the fossil fuel industry as well. Add on top of that the strength of the biofuels production blended in with that. So fuel supplies look to be very good going forward, which should help hold those costs down.
Okay, let's go to Iowa now. We've got another caller, Rick. Hi, Rick. What do you have for us?
I was just curious on the combines. There's, they're really expensive nowadays. How many acres or how much time would it ever take to ever pay off a combine, or hours on corn and soybeans, I should say?
Sure. Great question. Eric?
I think we're going to have to hold that one to our next segment when we have our combine expert. But, if you take a look at it over the life of a machine, we're seeing the optimal length of ownership being normally in that 3 to 4 year range for people who like to rotate combines. But then we have another group of users that are looking for good used machines as well. So in terms of how long does it take you to pay for that, I would say in today's market, it may be sooner than you think. And the reason is because of some of the efficiencies that we've talked about, not only on the forage harvester, relate directly over to our combines as well. And we'll get into that a little bit deeper in the next segment. But for us, even if corn is $4, you want to make sure you get every possible kernel that you can. And that's what we're doing, is trying to optimize that. So every operation is going to be a little bit different on when that payback is. But one of the things that we do, and I'm sure that Jeff might talk about it, is we do a value calculator when we do a demonstration on any machine, whether it's a forage harvester or a combine. And that really gives you a snapshot of what your current operation is spending or harvesting, what the efficiencies are. And then we'll run a demonstration right in your field next to it, and we'll just show you the comparisons. And we equate that to those two things that I talked about earlier. Are we saving you time, or are we making you more money? And so that's what we really want to keep driving toward, is showing you very tangible, concrete information that help you make good decisions for your operation.
I love it. I love it. Hope you're getting some great information here. It is time to take a break. You kind of teased Jeff. He's waiting in the wings. We have Jeff Gray set to come in just a moment. We've got to take a quick break, though. Our phone lines are open, and you can call in with your questions. We're toll free at 877-731-6733, 877-731-6733. Stay tuned. We're back in a moment. Welcome back to Rural America Live. We've covered a lot of ground tonight. Kind of sounds like we were doing it in a combine, right? Well, hang on. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. We do turn to another critical piece of the farm efficiency, though. We kind of teased it earlier. It's the combine. CLAAS combines, known worldwide for productivity and precision. But don't forget, we also have a giveaway tonight. Would you like to win? One lucky on-air caller will win a CLAAS Pelican cooler. All you have to do is call us with your questions. Phone lines are open, 877-731-6733. It's 877-731-6733. And we'll announce the winner here in just a few minutes. We kind of teased it earlier. Jeff Gray will walk us through how the Lexion and Treon are actually going to benefit us. And Jeff, we brought you in here, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Kind of the elevator speech. Tell us who you are.
Well, my name is Jeff Gray, and I'm actually going on my 28th season now working with the CLAAS Combines in North America. I've had the great fortune of starting at when we first introduced the first pre-series combines, and I'm still here with them today, watching them progress. And now we've even got a new combine called the Treon that we'll talk about a little bit in depth. I like to tell everybody that I have the funnest job in the company because my team and I were responsible for product performance for the Central Corn Belt and the Mississippi or the Southern Rice Belt. And so we get to work with a lot of customers to make sure that their products do what they're supposed to. And not just combines, but also the forage harvester and tractors and baler and hay tools as well.
You know, I'm just thinking product performance sounds like maybe you give it a run for the money and really test it to its limits as well.
That's right. It's very important that the customers get full value out of their products, and that's what CLAAS is there to help them do.
All right. Lexion, Treon, what sets those apart in that combine market?
Well, the difference is they're very similar. The Lexion, I like to refer to the Lexion as the maximizer because it is the larger of the two. It is the one for the customers that really want to push those daily productivity limits, those acres per hour, push the bushels per hour. Whereas the Treon is actually the first dedicated Class 7 combine designed for North America in many years. It is just a Class 7 combine designed for those slightly smaller operations, those more budget-minded operations that are looking more for simplicity. They're not really looking to push those daily limits of productivity. They're just looking to do things better, more efficiently. So that's really the big difference between the two. However, both of them share the same robust design for consistent performance and reliability. So that's something they can be confident in.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that not everything is built for the biggest producers. Obviously, we need to have them in mind, but you really have a place there for the smaller producer. Tell us about some of the updated features, though.
So for this year, you can always expect something new from CLAAS. And in addition to the forage harvester, we've made several revisions to the combines, namely the 8000 series. So we do have a new Class 8 planned for 26. That will be the new 8500. We actually debuted that at the Farm Progress Show a couple weeks ago. That one is rated at 500 with a max power of 549 horsepower. Then we move on up to the 8600, which got a big jump in power, taking it up to a Class 9. It is now max rated at 590 horsepower. Then we also added more horsepower to our current Class 9, which is our 8700, that takes it up to 637 horsepower. And then, of course, the two Class 10s on top are the 690 horse 8800 and the 779 horsepower 8900. So the reason we have multiple class sizes isn't so much because we want to have more than one in a class size. Those are the requests by the customer. Listening to the customer's needs and wants, they're starting to ask for more power. They're wanting to do more per hour, per day, to try to finish faster. That's probably the one differentiating benefit of CLAAS combines is our ability to finish faster. And we can do so up to 15 to 20% more, and that's oftentimes not shaving off at least a week to 12 days off harvest. And if you want to talk about payback, when will the combines pay for themselves? It's in that productivity and shortening up harvest. As much fun as harvest is, we want to get that finished. That's probably one of the most expensive enterprises that goes on a grain farm today.
Exactly, and you said it's because you listen. So
Exactly.
Speaking of listening, how about we go to Kansas? We have Jeff on the line. Hi, Jeff. What do you have for us?
I was trying to win a cooler.
Well, that's one way to do it. Is you get in and call. What are your thoughts here on the equipment? Combine?
Yeah. How wide a head do you guys offer?
We can go all the way up to 50 foot on our flex draper heads, and up to
Really?
16 row 30-inch, so up to 40 foot on our corn heads.
Well, there you go. Jeff, call and you get an answer there. By the way, good luck. Hope you win that. By the way, our phone lines are still open. 877-731-6733. 877-731-6733. What about efficiency? I jotted a note down here, and I think we talk about a lot of things here and features, but efficiency, can that actually translate into real savings?
Yes, it can. I mean, the more efficient that you are, the faster that you can finish, the more you're going to improve your bottom line and your overall profitability. I mean, let's say that we do finish in that 15 to 20% faster range. You plug those numbers into one of the major university custom harvest rates or custom farming rates, and you're going to look at anywhere a savings of anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 to $110,000 within that week to 12 days if you can shorten harvest up by that much. So that's quite a savings depending upon the operation and the size and scope of the operation.
Okay, seems like every question I have, you already are answering it before I can get to it. I'm thinking about the efficiencies here. But let's bring it back to 2026. I mean, we're going to get through 2025, but there are a lot of questions still out there for 2026. How do we use CLAAS combines to prepare for what could be even a tighter year?
Well, one of the other things that we're known for is our grain retention, our grain savings. We don't talk in whole percents when we talk about grain savings. We're talking about fractions in savings, or loss. So we're typically looking at about 0.5% loss on our combines. Just recently, we had a farmer not too far from here had quite a day harvesting corn. Chad Henderson down near Huntsville, Alabama. And during that day, I think it was about a 10-hour day that he harvested. He harvested, 57,300 bushels within that 10-hour period. Well, that's an impressive number. What the customers the farmers should really look at is he was able to sustain that 5,700 bushels an hour for 10 hours. And that kind of efficiency while burning about 0.97 gallons per acre. So we're just shy of 1 gallon per acre, which we can hang our hat on that one because that's one of the savings we've been promoting for years with Alexion is we average right about that 1 gallon per acre on fuel on all combines. In addition to that, he was right at that 1% grain loss as well. So to harvest that much and with a Class 8 and a 16-row corn head, that's very impressive. That speaks volumes for our capacity and for our efficiency.
All right. At the end of the day, show me, right?
That's right.
And it sounds like that's what you're doing. So show me the show me state, Missouri. Clinton, are you there?
Yeah, you haven't told me yet. All right. Dealers are gone. There's no CLAAS dealers, so you guys can't show me nothing with no dealer.
So the importance of having a dealer network. So Eric, let's kind of bring you in here.
Sure.
How important is that?
It's very important. I started my career working for a dealership, so I know firsthand how important that is. And that's one of the things that we've been working intently on is getting our dealer locations, especially in areas like Missouri, like Iowa. We've gone through some changes, and we've implemented a new solution in certain areas called CLAAS Farm Point. And basically what that does is it really focuses on remote capabilities. It really doesn't do us a lot of good to build a great big building because farmers have their farm, they know where they need their parts, they know where they need their service. And we've already deployed in the state of Iowa, we've deployed 2 new locations, 2 more in North Dakota, 1 in Kentucky, 1 in Indiana, and we're going to be working on solutions for Missouri as well. So we're very, very switched on to the requirements of what customers need. And like I said earlier, the parts and the service are the most important aspects, and we deliver that through dealers. So it's very important for us to be on point with that. So very good question.
Okay, we're running out of time here, and I think Clinton mentioned it. I think it was Clinton said, "I just want to win," or I can't remember who it was said, "I just want to win." All right, so let's announce our giveaway winner real quick. Who is it? Put my hand at. It's already been drawn for me. It's Henry from Alabama. You're the winner of the CLAAS Pelican Cooler. Someone from the CLAAS team will be reaching out to you in the coming days to get your shipping information. We'll send it empty, though. You'll have to fill it up yourself. All right, we're just almost out of time here. Final thoughts. Eric, let's start with you.
I would just encourage all the farmers that are out there today is really try to take as long a look as you can into the future. Obviously, we have some clouds right now, as we said before, but also don't be afraid to lean into your dealer or to manufacturers like us. As Jeff and Matt both said, we're very, very good at listening, and we think we have our finger on the pulse, but we're always ready, willing, and able to learn something new. But I would just tell farmers to really try to take the long approach right now. It's a great time, even though it might not feel like it, it's a great time to be making investments in machinery right now because, like I said before, there are a number of machines that are out there. This year model don't have any tariffs. We've got great financing programs and all the technology that both Jeff and Matt talked about. So don't slow down the investment. Just maybe be a little bit more diligent about the investment that you want to make.
Great points. Arlan, we're on the shot clock here, so final thought.
I'll just build off what he said, communication. And we always come out of tough times. I've been through a lot of these cycles over the years, and bad times lead to good times. But have the communications with your suppliers, talk to them, and we will come out of this stronger.
Okay. We're getting final thoughts, Jeff. You got to get in on this as well. What's a final thought you have?
Yep. As we go into harvest, the most important thing is just to be safe. But when it does come time to looking at new opportunities for machinery, be proactive. Talk to your neighbors that are operating CLAAS combines. If you don't have a neighbor that's running one, you can find your local dealer right on our website at claas.com. But most importantly, be safe out there.
You know, we've covered the big picture and the details from global markets to forage harvesters and combines and what's shaping up to be an interesting 2026. And I just wonder, Eric, as we put final thoughts here, obviously you had your final thoughts. Where can we learn more?
Well, Jeff just gave our website, but that's a really good place to start is go to claas.com. We have not only all of the equipment in more detail on that website, you can get in touch with your local dealer, and you can also reach out to us directly for feedback or for more information. We'd be happy to hear from anyone, and also encourage them to visit their local dealer if they know who that is, because we work very closely with all of our dealers.
Oh, it's great to see you all here. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Arlan. Thanks, Jeff. And thank you for being a part. And we hope that you'll join us next time for another edition of Rural America Live from Rural America's most important network. Good night.